Caravaggio was a brilliant and innovative artist and a controversial person. And Bacchus, one of the many children of Jupiter, was the Roman god of things like wine, madness, fertility, theater, and religious ecstasy. It sounds like Caravaggio and Bacchus are a natural match. Looking at this painting from around 1598, it is not immediately obvious what we are looking at, so let's unpack it a bit. A youthful Bacchus, seated on a chaiselong, is holding a glass of wine in his left hand. It may seem like a still life painting with the presence of Bacchus, but if we zoom in on the glass of wine, we can see a little bit of movement. You can see the ripples in the glass of wine as evidence that Bacchus has just extended his arm to us. Bacchus has a wreath of vine leaves and grapes on his head, and he already seems a bit drunk, and he invites us, the viewer, to join him for a glass of wine. And knowing the reputation of Bacchus, he may be asking for something more, as with his right hand he is playing with the drawstrings of his half-opened robe. But looking at the boy, there seems to be something strange. Caravaggio portrayed him as a pretty boy with a muscular body, but his face is a little bit awkward. First, it seems that he is wearing some makeup, which in itself would not be that strange, however it is in stark contrast to the dirty fingernails of Bacchus, something we will return to when looking at the symbolism in this work. Second, Bacchus does not seem very happy while inviting us. Maybe it is just that he is already quite intoxicated, but his expression seems to be somewhat at odds with the rest of the painting. There are some symbolic elements in this painting, like the vine leaves in his hair, which help us to identify the person as Bacchus, as these leaves are his sacred symbol. And one element we did not look at yet is the ceramic bowl of fruit and a jug of wine on the stone table in the foreground. The bowl of fruit contains both healthy and spoiled fruits, as well as fresh green leaves and spoiled yellow leaves. Bacchus was strongly associated with fertility in agriculture, so it is a natural element to include here. The spoiled fruits are an example of a vanitas, which means emptiness. Vanitas refers in the traditional Christian view to the emptiness and worthlessness of all earthly goods and ambitions, and spoiled fruit is one common way to present this. The interpretation of the dirty fingernails is less clear. Some see it as a symbolic warning of the consequences of earthly pleasures, while others just attribute this to the style of Caravaggio, as he painted in great detail what he saw without idealizing it like they did during the Renaissance. And so, if one of the models he picked up from the street had dirty fingernails, he would faithfully capture that. But as mentioned earlier, it contrasts with the makeup on the face. So it is not unlikely that each of these elements had a carefully chosen symbolic meaning, and the makeup would refer to sexuality, strengthening the idea that Bacchus is inviting the viewer for more than a glass of wine. The painting was created when Caravaggio was staying with his patron, Cardinal Del Monte, in Rome. But why would a cardinal be interested in a painting of the Roman god Bacchus, who stands for all sorts of things that are at odds with what was expected from a cardinal? One explanation could be that the cardinal just supported Caravaggio because he was a brilliant artist and that he gave him artistic freedom such that he could create works like the musicians, which was discussed in an earlier video on this channel. In this light, it may not be surprising that Caravaggio chose to depict Bacchus, as Bacchus was considered a chronic alcoholic. It was a good subject to depict the misery of the common people, but also reflected the miserable state of Caravaggio at the time of the painting. And Caravaggio had already painted another work of Bacchus. in 1593 he painted young sick Bacchus, which is considered to be a self-portrait of Caravaggio. Another potential explanation on why Caravaggio painted this under the patronage of Cardinal del Monte was that not all cardinals were very pious. To some, this work has a bit of a homoerotic feel to it, and the cardinal may have had some personal interest here. In any case, the cardinal liked the painting and held onto it for a decade when he would strategically gift it to the Grand Duke of Tuscany when his son Cosimo II married. Well, I hope you enjoyed the discussion of this work in the Uffizi Museum. If you enjoy the art of Caravaggio, you may be interested in one of the 2-minute videos on this channel about David with the head of Goliath. And if you want to help the channel, just leave a like, subscribe and leave a comment down below with your thoughts about this work or the artist Caravaggio. Thanks for watching.